Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here to talk to you about not a new release, an old release, but a wonderful release. I saw it on Amazon recently for something like $93, but I think you can get it as an MP3 file or download it. And if you can, you should hear it. It's this disc on Claves, Franz Krommer's Sextets for Wind Ensemble. That is 2 oboes, 2 bassoons, 2 horns, with a double bass on the bottom, just for a little extra oomph on the bottom. This was recorded in 1990. It seems like hundreds of years ago. But it was 1990, and maybe you can still find it in as physical product. Krommer is a composer we haven't talked about much, although just before I started this channel, most of his symphonies were recorded by CPO, and there's a bunch of his stuff on Naxos. His music for wind ensemble is the best known, and it's wonderful music. His years were very interesting. It was 1759 to 1831. So he's almost exactly contemporary with Mozart, if Mozart hadn't died in 1790, whatever he died in. But 1759, Mozart was like 1756. They were close. Krommer knew Beethoven. He was Czech. He wrote tons of music, mostly chamber music, mostly instrumental music. And the irony, of course, is that Czech composers from this period were known for their wonderful writing for wind ensembles, for their music for woodwinds, outdoors music. I mean, most sensible aristocrats. I mean, if you were an aristocrat worth your salt, you would find a Czech person to write for your wind ensemble because everybody had one. Even aristocrats who couldn't afford a full orchestra could usually afford a Feldpartita or something like that, a wind thing with half a dozen or so players. And so there was just reams and reams and reams of music written for this sort of combination. The irony is that Krommer himself was a violinist and wrote mostly like string quartets. He wrote like over 100 string quartets. Just lots and lots of stuff. But the interesting thing about him is that he is one of the very, very earliest composers to borrow extensively from Czech folk music and who has a recognizably Czechy, Eastern European, Dvorak-y, whatever you want to say, Smetnish kind of sound. Very, very early on. He sounds, on the one hand, totally Viennese classical, Haydn, Mozart, and that sort of thing. And on the other hand, romantic national. And it's a very, very interesting combination. It really is. And you hear it quite vividly in these pieces. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. In 2 of them in E flat, including the last one, which is the Sestetto Pastoral. And then, 1 in C minor, 1 in B flat major. Most of them are 4-movement works. They're pretty substantial. I mean, we're not talking symphonic length, but there are 4 of them here. But, 15 minutes each or so, a little bit less maybe. And if you listen, for example, to the finale, it's a rondo, in case you care, of the E-flat sextet, the one that's not the pastorale, the first thing on the disc. Oh my, such wonderful things you'll hear. And a lot of things that Haydn used. It has drone basses, like bagpipe things. It has wild folk type themes. It's got some whopping clarinet glissandos, a la Rhapsody in Blue. It's really fun. It's just tremendous fun. And like I said, this mixture of styles of the Viennese classical with the folk tradition is really pretty special. I don't know. There may be tons of music like that. I mean, there's so much wind music from this period written by so many composers. And most of it, of course, hasn't been recorded at all. So we don't know exactly what's out there. But Krommer himself is a find. I mean, I've listened to tons and tons and tons of his music over the past, 30 or 40 years or so. And I've yet to hear anything that isn't good. I mean, some things are more conventional. more in the style of the day than other things. But most of it is really, really well written, melodically extremely catchy. His writing for woodwinds is totally fabulous. If you get a chance to listen to the symphonies, you should hear those too. Really, really interesting because, as I've said, great orchestration is a function of how you write for woodwinds. If you're using a full orchestra, and boy, did he know how to write for woodwinds. But these sextets with Consortium Classicum were just a fabulous group. They play magnificently, and I love woodwind music. I love wind ensemble music. I played in bands for centuries, and it's really wonderful. Claves is a terrific label. They have some really, really special stuff. And if you can find this or download it, and if you are interested in wind ensemble music, if you like Mozart's Grand Partita, if you like that kind of stuff, then the Mozart wind sextets and other things, or octets, whatever they are, they have lots of woodwinds. Definitely you'll want to hear this. And you'll find it enchanting. I absolutely guarantee it. So there it is. Give it a shot if you can find it. It's worth seeking out. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.